years ago, we saw former President Donald Trump defeat Hillary Clinton. 4 years later, Joe Biden evicted him from the White House. And this morning, we learned Donald Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. Wright State University political science professor Dr. Lee Hanna joins us now with what we can expect. Good morning, Lee. So first off, starting here locally, businessman Bernie Moreno beat out Democrat incumbent Senator Sherrod Brown in the Senate race. So do you think former President Trump's support helped with Moreno's popularity?
Yes, absolutely. What we really saw last night was just a uniform swing towards Republicans across the country. And so it was a bad night to be a Democratic incumbent. Sherrod Brown, I believe Bob Casey, both lost. Tester out in Montana, I'm pretty sure that's been called as well. So, and Moreno smartly tied himself to Trump. I mean, there were many ads where it was basically saying a vote for Trump is a vote for Moreno. And it's also stated, it looks like we went from being about 8 points towards Trump, which is where Sherrod Brown thought he'd have to be for like the split ticket voters to be just right. I think right now I'm seeing closer to an 11-point victory for Trump in the state of Ohio. And so that certainly was a strong coattail that Bernie Moreno could grab onto.
Okay, and then on to the U.S. House. Were there any surprises in Ohio?
I think that a couple of races were closer than I expected, but you know, again, generally what we saw was just a uniform swing, and I think. As political scientists, we talk about this theory called thermostatic voting, that a party comes in and they give you liberal policies and people say, that's a little too much, let's dial it back. And then Republicans come in, they give you conservative policies, that's a little too much, let's dial it back. And so I think we saw some of that with just the night that the Democratic Party had. You know, they're coming in and they own the White House and the economy and the record and everything else, and it just didn't go well for them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting. And then moving on to the main race, come January 20th, we will see our second presidency, Trump presidency. He centered his campaign around immigration and the economy. So what do you think his first steps will look like?
Yeah, I've got a bone up on my Grover Cleveland history now. So the first president in non-consecutive terms since the 1880s. You know, I think what we will see if we look at who was around him in 16 versus who's around him in 24, we've really seen a complete makeover of the Republican Party in terms of who is in that group, and so I think we will see more. You know, hardliners that he's going to be able to get through, also with a Senate that's going to confirm many of these individuals. And I imagine it will be his first priority will be going towards immigration. And, you know, we'll see what is possible in that realm. You know, I think we'll be curious to see with tariffs how far he goes on that. There's some economists who look at that and think that could backfire. So certainly now, you know, come January 25, he will own the economy, and we'll see if those conservative policies are just right or if people will be dialing it back in 26.
Yeah, and that kind of ties in. So what kind of major changes do you see him making? Of course, you know, he's mentioned getting rid of Obamacare or brought up the CHIPS Act as well. So what do you think?
Yeah, I would be really surprised if they went that far on the CHIPS Act. To be honest, as far as healthcare, I mean, they had good numbers in 2017, and that seemed to be pretty intractable to undo. But I think there is more flexibility at the border, using Department of Homeland Security, using his executive authority. One thing that we've seen since Congress just has never been able to get good immigration deals passed is that more of this has gone to the executive agency, which is directed by the president. So I'm looking for that to be the most fundamental big change we see on day one.
Okay, yeah, we're definitely going to be keeping a close eye on this. Thank you so much, Lee, for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Great to talk to you.
Have a good one.